Right, morning guys. So, welcome back to the, I feel like I'm running around in circles at the moment, trying to get these freaking little floor locks made. So I remade that one twice, well, made it twice yesterday, because the first one I made was too light. And then it took me ages to get the second one made, just to try and get it cut down to fit, and not take too much material away. So I think I've almost got it sorted, and I'll get back onto that in a minute. But I got another drawer to fix for the kid. Man, some of the furniture nowadays is just absolute fucking garbage. It really is. Like, it's just glued together, and it's all MDF. MDF's okay, but it's not like the old stuff that was made out of freaking decent timber. You know, this shit just fucking falls apart. It's a pain in the ass. So I'll glue this one back together again. I think this is like the fourth drawer of glued together. They just pull the fronts off. So I could do that, and then also the young fella's scooter, the wheels coming loose in front of it. So I'll give it a bit of a check over and tighten a bit of shit up and throw a bit of lube around some wheels and whatever and bearings, and just give it a quick look over. So I took him down to the skate park last night, and then he was moaning at the front wheel felt like it was coming loose, so I didn't have anything, so I was just tightening it back up with my fingers every freaking 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, I'll give that a decent tweak up. But yeah, this lock in the floor, I think I've got it sorted now. I need to climb underneath. I've got the floor, I've got it sitting in the underneath the floor. I'm reasonably happy with the level of that. Like, it's not sticking up proud of that, if you know what I mean. It's about the same level as the surround. I didn't want it sticking up, anything stupid. That's what the problem was with the other one, because that wasn't thick enough. I'd had to like pull it down quite a bit off the top, that little metal bracket, which I could have done. I could have had it sitting down, but it would have been easier to flick underneath it all the time. I was trying to avoid that one. I'd about to just screw it, push it down and screw it around, and know that it's going to be underneath it, because it can't slip over the top, if you know what I mean. And you'd be fighting this stupid thing all the time. Not that you can have it very often, but if you want to get in there and get into the battery and all that sort of stuff, well, you don't want to be fighting stupid things. So I think I've got that one just about sorted, making one, and then we'll eventually get to the other. So yeah, I pretty much wasted the whole friggin' day on that yesterday. But anyway, so the other thing is too, I don't know how many more vehicles I'm actually going to do here. Been talking with Arco and Ironhead, because we're trying to do some projects together over in the States. I'm not going to say too much more than that, but it looks like maybe in the next couple of 3 months, hoping, might be over in the US, at least on a holiday basis, a working holiday basis, and trying to get some plans going ahead to get working over there. So yeah, we'll work on that. So I might, probably the next vehicle I might be working on is my mate's 65 Impala, because that's already been started. It's already stripped down into bare metal, so I'll be helping him do some body work, at least getting it further. I don't know if I want to break down another car and start a project, because then I feel obligated to keep working on it. Whereas this has already been started, and he's already done a lot of work to it himself. But if I can get him a couple of steps ahead, and then he might better get somebody else to paint it or something like that, and I can carry on. So you will see how that goes. But yeah, at least I want to get this thing finished if I can get some freaking parts back here. So if all we're waiting on is maybe the bands for the wheels, that's no biggie for somebody else to put on it. If I do happen to go to the States within the next couple of months, because I think Rachel is probably going to be in Australia within the month. We're just trying to get enough funds together, and it's not easy at the moment with the price of everything. It's just fucking ridiculous. but they did just drop the tax on fuel, because all our petrol gasoline was over $3 a litre. It was crazy money. It's now back down below $3 a litre, but it's still way higher than it ever needed to be. Because in Australia, the exchange rate between New Zealand and Australia, if we bought $1 Australian, it's about $1.07. Somewhere between between $1.05 and probably $1.07 or $1.08, somewhere around about that figure. But their fuel, or gas, or gasoline, petrol, whatever you want to call it, not diesel, is only about $2 a litre. Like, it's just crept over that $2 a litre now. It might be $2.20 sort of thing, depending on what state you're in. Some places it's still below $2 a litre, unless you happen to be right out in the wop-wops. Then it might be really expensive, but that's probably over $3 a litre type thing. But in most of the major cities and towns and whatever, it's about that $2 a litre. And I don't get why as a dollar dearer. And it's always been a bit like that. The New Zealand tax on fuel is just stupid. But anyway, so yeah, they've dropped the tax rate back on it, so it's chopped it back about 30-40 cents a litre, which is good, but it's still nowhere near where it should be. If it was $2 a litre, just over that $2 a litre, you can handle that, but when it's $3 plus, it's just, next thing you're paying $300 for a freaking tank of fuel. It's just stupid money. Well, not $300, but it would be. Yeah, it would be. Like that green car, if I filled that like a month ago or two, it would have been $200 to fill it. No problems at all. I'd put $50 in it, and it will barely get quarter of a tank. So yeah, maybe $200 might have filled it. Whereas now it would be, it would probably be $300 to fill a car, and then you're only going to get about 700 or 800 k's out of it. You might have got to. So if you went away for a weekend, for a decent weekend, it would be $600 for fuel. No worries at all. That would be half. That would be, well, it would probably be more than half of the average person's wage. Like it would be more than half of most people's average wage. It'd probably 3/4 for a lot of people that are right at the bottom of the feeding barrel, if you know what I mean, like they're on minimum wage. It would be most of their wage. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. Your average, if you want to be on a trip, it shouldn't cost you a fucking week's worth of wages to just go somewhere and back, just in fuel, little anything else. It's ridiculous. But anyway, like the inflation rate and the wages is, like the wages would have to jump 10% to even get close to what it was 2 years ago. It's ridiculous. But anyway, carry on. I think Arco's trying to send me some videos and some messages, so I'll try and get this shit sorted today. It's been a funny freaking few days. I've just been really messy. Anyway, righty, I think I was back this clamp sorted, so I just drilled the holes in here to bolt it down, well, not clamp, bracket, to lock bracket. That piece locks on, so go test fit there. So I got a couple of side jobs going. Fixing the drawer, I think I showed you that before. And we've got this hot rod over here, giving it a bit of a tune-up. I think it's about 450 brake horsepower. That's young fella's scooters, just the headset was a bit loose on it and the wheels need tightened up, and I'll just give them a bit of spray with some lube. They sound a bit noisy, but they're alright, still turning, so just give it a clean up. Just make sure, because the headset was quite loose and bits and pieces, as they do when they abuse the crap out of things, jumping over everything that they can find. So I just tighten it all up, make sure it's all tight and the wheels aren't going to fall off, because he was riding at the skate park last night and the front wheel was getting all chattery and loose. So I'd do the the what do you want to call it? The two Allen keys up on the I guess what you call the axle. I do just tweak it up by hand a couple of times, so it didn't undo. But yeah, the headset was very loose, so I just undid the clamp and spun the handlebars around a couple of times to take the slack up on the bearings and whatever. Gave the wheel had a tweak up, and that one I tweak up, make sure it's tight. They're not rocking around anymore, so it's cool. So that's that one hot rod fixed. We'll just see if we can get this other thing fixed. We're finished. So we'll get this clamp on. Or bracket, not clamp. Lock bracket, what do you want to frickin' call it? Get that one on there, so then we can see whether we need one on the other side then. Far out. But anyway, those old aluminium things are made for the vice work quite well. Not that it probably wouldn't hurt this thing if it was clamped in there anyway, because she gets abused and thrown around and all sorts of things as kids do. Come off and it's not bad nick, but it's pretty battle scarred for only having it since it's Christmas. So yeah, it's been well abused since then. Right, I've got this thing in here. Now I can't see how it works and how it clears and all that sort of stuff, so I'm just going to do a couple of test locks and just make sure that it's clearing properly and all that stuff. And not going to have any issues. Seems to work right. Let's have a look at the video. Right, so got both these things back on here, whether it's temporarily or permanent. Probably not permanent, because I'll paint this all eventually. But I'll see if this here will fit in this side for clearance anyway. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure, because I think it's closer. I think this side's tighter. I may be able to get it to catch in the wood, I don't know, but we'll pop it back in and we'll see what's going on underneath. Anyway. Right, whoa. Focus. Anyway, I'll just see whether this will spin right around or whether it hits. Yeah. It's hitting. So, and I can barely get it turned around, so I think it's quite a bit closer. Have a look. We'll jump down there and I'll bring it back in a sec. Yeah, right, so this is way closer on the side. That's kind of what I was expecting on that side, but it just didn't quite work that way. So, what I'm going to do here is, bugger, I didn't bring that little bracket with me, did I? Because now that I've got that metal bracket on that side, it probably really needs to be something similar, just to make, so it looks the same, but I've got less room to work with, obviously. But it's whether I can get this to do a full sweep or whether I've got to yeah, so I can't even get around there. So I'm going to have to, I can probably get away with just nicking a slot in here, like I was going to do over here, and then I realised it was too far away. But this year I probably can. What a pain in the butt. I'd like it to be, a similar thing one side to the other. It's strange though, because there's about as much steel hanging out there. It's weird, isn't it? And I traced the hole on top of the board, so who knows. Yeah, it's about the fucking same. I don't know. Don't get it. Wooden cars. I'll make something similar. I guess I'll just make something similar and then just clearance this to, so I can still catch steel, but that'll catch the wood too, or something. Righto. Work it out. Actually, I'll need a pen. I'll mark on here where I've got clearance for a start. Wrong button. Righty. So I'm in the midst of making the second one of these. I'm actually going to fill this back in with weld and file that flat. I don't really need that gap in there. And that'll just make it a little bit stronger, and I'll clean that up for the other one. So obviously I need to cut this back in here a bit further. But I'll sort of cut that chunk out of it, and I'll grind this back and yeah, do the same thing here, so it'll be flat. Fill this back in, and this one here will be the same. I've actually recessed, I'm not sure if it's showing that or not, I'll take over. Yeah, I'm about to go for lunch. But, let's get back out a little bit. So, in here, I've had to recess into timber a bit because it's so much closer. Just to make that bracket piece fit, I guess. Catch, latch, what do you want to call it. And the reason I'm doing that was like I could have put just a cut into the wood, but I think over time it will jiggle and wear the wood away. Where it's just as easy to just trim a little piece of wood out of there, fit that bracket in there, and it's going to have the same sort of catch system as the other side then. And it's freaking heavy, like it'll never freaking break. Look, it'll pull the thing through the wood before this weaver. Now that's whatever it is, 1/4 inch. But angle line that I've chopped up and made these pieces, so it's going to be nice and beefy and strong. That should never break, so yeah, that's that then. So I was just about, well, I wouldn't say I've just about got it done, but hopefully another hour or so I'll have that pretty cleaned up, and I might have to trim that a little bit more when I start test fitting, because on here, that's where the timber sits against the thing, so I've had to cut, and I have to cut that much back out so you can see for the swing for the arc. So that's much more closer it fits, whereas the other one still sits in the mark here. Oh. So that one's basically right on that. So it's like in here. The other one. So like it's quite a bit different. Well, it's probably not quite that far, but it's a fair chunk in. Like it's a good amount in from what this one is. Yeah, it's probably not quite that far. About there somewhere. But it's still a fair chunk. It's still quite a jump in. Why it's like that, who knows. As I said, I've drilled these holes out according to that. That was laid over top of that, and I marked them and then drilled them, so it could be a little bit in it, but yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, we'll get that finished after lunch, I guess, and get that other one welded back up and dressed up and whatever, and we'll make them look pretty. And yeah, test fit them again and make sure this is going to clear that piece I'm trimming out, so we can get the full swing. That's also partly the other reason why I've trimmed it out like that into the timber and the body, so that can clear. I might have to take that more by the looks of that. I'll have a quick measure and just see what that depth is later on, but I'm going to go for some lunch. Well, don't you hate it when you sit something down and you can't hold it? Another one of these that I've been making, that I've sort of finished, but I was going to weld up. Another piece that I cut out, whereas this one here I cut it out and then I ground it down and whatever. I was going to use the mill, but I couldn't get it to hold it. Couldn't get it to hold it square. Like, I didn't have the patience to sit there and do it. I knew that I could do it with a grinder. By the time I frig around, screwing around, I could have cleaned the piece out with the grinder, so I did. But yeah, I sat the other one down somewhere when I was mucking around with this one, and you think I can find it now? So we'll have the back piece up and just leave it like that instead of having that notch cutting it, which I can't remember why I did that. That's funny how sometimes you think, oh yeah, and I'll do that, and reckon that'll make it fit, and then you're like, when you finish it, you go, what did I do that for? And what was the reasoning for that? Yeah, there's a logical reason for it when you do it, but when you come back to it later, you go, what was I thinking there? I don't know. I can't remember. Actually, one of the best examples that I've seen was on, I don't know if you guys watch Bed Obsession Motorsport. I've been building this Mini for about 8 years. It's basically finished. They got, a few teething, I wouldn't say teething issues, but they've obviously been going through just finalising bits and pieces and obviously getting a few things, sorting it out. But basically it's not like a 1980s Mini. Like that, they'd started way back in the 60s, whatever, it went through 70s and 80s, and I think they've run up to 90s in that same body style. But basically, it was rotten. They gutted it. They had a mid-90s Celica GT4. Took all the running gear and basically put it in, and they built everything else themselves. It's got electric windows and everything. They've done everything. It's flip front, but it's still a normal hinge opening front. You can take the whole front off all in one bit. It all works normally. They're clever buggers. But anyway, I can remember when because they cut the whole firewall out and rebuilt all the A-pillars. The only panel that they didn't really do anything to was the roof. They rebuilt all the A-pillars and everything. But anyway, they left below the windscreen when they left this part of the wasn't the scuttle panel, it was the piece below that and behind that. They left about that much of it there. And when they come back to do something, they were like, yeah, I know I left that there for a reason at the time, but you think I can think of what it is now? So just like, screw it, it's gone. It's one of the best examples I've seen of that on YouTube. But it was funny, because it's like, yeah, I can't for the life of me think why I left that there, but at the time when I cut it off, I left it there for a particular reason, but gone. But yeah, if you haven't watched that series, go right back to the start. It's like 2014 or 13 they started building it, and it's almost finished now. It's painted and everything like that. Just they're in final assembly basically. They've had it running a couple of times about 3 months ago, but holy shit balls, a hell of a frickin' build. Like that's what I would call without hand building a car. It's hand building a car. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Without trying to make a car look hand built, but hand building a car, yeah. That's one. Like it looks, if you had a look at it, probably the way it was built, it looks factory, but it's not even close to factory. But anyway, it's about, the frickin' wheel arches are about this wide. But yeah, anyway. I better see if I can find this other piece I can weld it up, and then I can finish dressing this up. Because I want to weld a couple mix up with, cut through with a grinder. Man, where did I leave that frickin' thing? Anyway, I'll come back to you in a minute. Found it, it was in my fucking pocket. I walked up to the car and I was like, come up to it. I was like, went to lean on the where the foot plate is where the door opening is, bottom door opening is like, donk. And I was like, what the hell's that? It's in my pocket, dickhead. Alrighty, so I think I've just about got this sorted. I might have to just take a little bit more off these pieces. And I may have to take a little bit more out of here, out of this pocket, but I think I'm almost ready to screw it on like that one. But I'll have to test fit the floor again a bit more and whatever.
yeah, so that might be tomorrow now by the looks of it. Can't believe how long this is taking me, just fucking screwing around backwards and forwards and getting this right and fixing that one and fucking keep trimming this out and fucking boards in and out and up and down and left and right and clawing off the floor and but anyway, I think I'm there now. I think I'm there, so yeah, I'll hopefully screw that in the morning and that'll be done. Finally. Biggest pain in the ass. One of the biggest pain in the ass bits I've ever done. Just fluffing around. Backwards and forwards, in and out, up and down. Crazy. But anyway, simple little bloody thing, but pain in the ass. Especially though to keep trimming this out too. But that's life. I think I'm almost there now. I've got quite a bit of footage from the last few days, but I think I'm going to freaking edit the crap out of it. Just I'll be going through a shitload of it and ditching a whole heap, I think. But anyway, almost there. Alrighty guys, so welcome back again. Well, to the morning anyway. Done another video part way through. So I think I've got this close to fitting. So I'm going to sit the board and back in there and poke that in there and see if I can get it in and see if I need to do anything else to it. I think, I can't remember exactly where I was yesterday because I've deleted all the footage off my phone because I put it on the computer. I think I opened this up a little bit before I left, and then, yeah, I can't remember exactly where I was, to be honest. So yeah, and I think I had to trim out this hole a little bit. I think I had to open out this hole a little bit more or make it a little bit deeper or something. I can't remember exactly. So I think I'm close to getting this fitted. So I'll throw the board back in there, have a double check from underneath, just to see if I need to do anything else. And then if it's close, I think I've got a marker down there. I can mark the holes and drill them and put this in and get this bloody thing done. And then I'm gonna, this piece here, which I was debating on whether I should put some extra strength in here or not. I still can't make up my mind what I want to do there. I think I almost need to put this piece in there and then climb up in here and have a bit of a, just maybe sit something on here so I can sort of sit down on it, find a bit of board or something I can sit on there and maybe stack it up so it's a bit more of a seat height and sort of stand up and down a few times, you know, like I was going to get out and just see what it feels like underfoot. Because if it can hold me, it should better hold most people, unless you're a shack or something. I think most people, you know, like there is a lot of bigger people out there, but like I don't think they would be in here, to be honest, unless maybe, but because they're not terribly big, but it's not too bad for space, this thing. But yeah, like you're not going to have a, well, I wouldn't imagine you would have a 400-pound guy in here, but yeah, I think I wanted to see how this feels underneath foot once I get this all sitting in and lock this in. This isn't screwed up to here, but it doesn't really kind of matter. It's just more how this board feels underfoot. I'm just a little dubious how it flexes, but maybe without the main one being solid, you might be standing on this quite so much, if you know what I mean. So I'll throw this board in here, and then we'll climb underneath. Wait a minute, nose in again. I've had this thing in and out any freaking times. Just wonder if I've worn a hole in the bottom of the car. So wherever we are, what will we look underneath? Right. Out there, hopefully you can see there alright, I think you can. So in theory, do I have to take any more out of there or not? Maybe a smidge more at this end, just to get it clear. I don't really want to take any more meat off this thing, if you know what I mean. So
I might just take a little bit more off the bottom of this, off the back of this end. That needs to be hard up against the edge, so I might just take a little bit more at this end as well. But, like, I mean, bring it back a little bit. Probably doesn't really need to be, but I might just take a smidge off the end of it. Freaking Marko works well, huh? God, I need to find another. Bought a couple of good ones the other day. But anyway, and just make it slightly deeper. It's almost clearing. It's like on this bracket. That's for the other piece, but it's kind of catching there, if you know what I mean. It's a little bit more depth and I'll be right. Then we'll better screw this on here and test it. So we'll do that.
Righty, where did I get to? Mrs. turned up, so she's going into town, so I got her to actually see if she can get me some more Rolex discs while she's in there. Those things. And a base. And I'm going to get her to inquire whether you can get the 3-inch ones. I probably don't really need them too much more, but depending on what happens, if I end up in the States shortly. But go away message. But yeah, like I'll need a few more discs just for doing small stuff. Like I've got a bit of stuff to do yet to finish and prep for this thing. So a few more won't go astray. But yeah. Well, I think that might be out enough. I'm not sure. I might trim a little bit more out of there, and then we'll jump underneath and we'll do another test fit. So I'll come back to you in a minute. Or 3. Right. Put the board back in there. Phone actually sits on the battery tray without interfering, I think. Right. We clear this time. Oh yeah, perfect. Sweet. Right. I could probably take a little bit more out of these corners, but it's not too big a drama. Right, we'll mark some holes. That's right. Is that going to work? Mark out everything. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Righty, I think I'm pretty happy with all that. Obviously, as you hop in a car normally, you sit on the seat and flick your feet in, whatever. If this was a lot lower, it'd be easy. Like if it was down on its wheels and weight on it. You'd put your feet in, sit down, whatever. And it seems to work fairly reasonable for what it is. Obviously the seat's not quite high enough and that sort of feels a bit funny, but apart from that, everything feels alright.
I've still got to put those little pieces in, but I would like to get the motor and gearbox in before I do finalise these little bits and get that centrepiece in so it sits over the gear stick properly, and then I can trim these pieces that go in here properly. I think I might just leave that until then, and then it gives me a little bit of, it gives me some room to jiggle that around if I need to play with it a little bit to get, because that thing fits over where the cover bit is. Yeah, this piece here, because that fits neatly over the top of that gear stick piece, because it's got to sit in the right spot. I really need to have all that in the car to screw that down, if you know what I mean. But once it's in, you can sit that over that, bang the screws in it, and I can, you know, and then you can set. Now, if it's got to be a little bit this way, that way, that way, or that way, well, there's no point cutting these to fit in here, and all of a sudden you need it here, if you know what I mean. So I don't know the exact position of that until we get the motor and the transmission in the car, or gearbox. So I'm going to leave that. So on the front seat is this piece, all right? Now I've just had a quick look at the couple of photos that I've got in the area of the back seat of one. On here. Where's the handle? Right, this door, hold on. Right, now, on the photos of the one that's up north, that's got the hard top, well, when I'm out north, a couple of hours away, the one that's at 26, it has got that same thing across here, from what I can see from photos. So I need to make a replica of that, but just straight. Fortunately, I don't have to put the hoop in it, but I need to make it to fit on the front of this piece, and I'll pop it up on the, I've only got like a short little piece of it. I can only see a small area of it, but you can see that it definitely sits down in here like this, and then the carpet comes up to it in the back. And it obviously sticks up a little bit because this here is the, I assume is the upside, because it's got the nice rolled edge on it, whereas the other piece is just sort of tucked round. Now I'm not sure if this would be like that or not. I need to frickin', it's one of those things you just, unless you had the other car here, you're not quite sure. I need to look through some more files to see if this is exactly how the front one fits, with this being back like that and then that like that. I guess so, whereas the back one's not quite so much like that. But it's still got that same trim. So I need to, and obviously, turn the phone around a bit like that. Yeah, so the upholstery for the side of the seat will come down and tuck into here and come up to here, sort of type thing. So it's only going to be, I don't know, whatever. It's only going to come up to here and then have a neat edge. So it only needs to be dead straight. So I might make that next. Try and get all these pieces done. Until obviously I get bits to frickin' put these gearboxes and engines and crap back together, so I can at least put the flywheel and everything on that motor and the gearbox back together, so I can put it in the car. That's kind of what I'm waiting on there. Like I could pop the head off that, but I'm going to wait till one day as I can get Dad down here at some point. Probably could have done it before now, but I think I'll get the gearbox together and then we'll slip it on the back and then we can lift the head off it and have it stick quick and make sure it's fine. But I think while I'm mucking around with all this seat floor stuff, I'll get all this finished. And I've obviously got to clean that other one up and get it ready for paint. So yeah, I need to try and replicate that, just in a short piece to fit on the front of this.
Alrighty guys, so this little gem of a thing to make. I'm going to try and do this little step here. I'm going to try and do this little step first. That bit and that bit. So I'll do that, like my little double break thing, because this has obviously got wire or something in there, but I'm not really quite sure what. I'm guessing it'll be a wire edge in there, just the way it's stepped, but I'm going to try and replicate that without putting the wire in if I can. So on here, if you can see, so on here I've sort of marked the steps and I've sort of kind of drawn it. So that's your like the first two bends. So I'll probably bend this one first, break it, and then break this one, and then come back and just get it so it's a little bit of a jump in it, and then I'll come back and try and pull this one around without making it too tight, if you know what I mean, and then come back and do this one. That's what I'm thinking, and then this will be sort of, it'll be half open, if you know what I mean, and then I'll try and squash it around somehow. But I may have to put a piece of wire in there to try and get. I've never done that wire edging, so to try and get this to stay open like this, I might have to put a piece of wire in it. But I want to try and get this as close as possible. You know what I mean? Because obviously this is like this to protect the edge of the upholstery so it doesn't get cut up when you sit on it. So it's kind of what it needs to be. This is obviously a bit long, but it's only a test piece and to work it out. So the extra length will be out here. It only needs to be about this far. And this is my rough guess and measurements for a start off to try and get it right. And when I do all these other things and it's sticking after it's out here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to maybe roll that or not. I might. I'm just thinking with that English wheel. So if I get a rough profile of this. Something like that. I didn't actually realise what these screws are for, to lock these things up. That makes sense though. But is that right? Yeah. Somewhere between those. So my second tightest thing. This one here is not quite tight enough, and the other one's too tight. So it's a 1.5 dozen. The other, it wouldn't matter as long as it was look close. Because my other one's too tight. Probably better off with a slightly tighter one. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. This is closer. It's just slightly more relaxed when you get it out to the edge. It probably is this one, to be honest. So, I just don't know whether I can get that and when to put it in. I'm just trying to work that out too. Whether I would roll it before I bent it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a bit of a toughie. It's a matter of working that out too, because it would be nice to have that shape. And because it's dead straight, it doesn't really matter. It'd probably be best to put it in first, I would think. Mark where you want to roll it and just roll it and get that curve in it. Obviously without going over to here to try and get that shape into it. And because this is short too, you almost need it long and then cut it off. So you can, like, maybe force it down around it when you're rolling it, because you haven't got enough to hold on to. You know what I mean? Well, I could get there and just pull that edge down, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. I might just try and see if I can replicate that shape without this in it first, and then maybe cut another small hunk and just see if I can work out this. This is actually where a bit of rubber to go in that top anvil will be handy, because you could put it in there and then the rubber would form around that. It would force that into it, and then you'd actually get that shape. So I bet you that was just a big long length and then they've shrunk. Yeah, so they've just shrunk that. They've just run it in a big long length and then shrunk it. But I could probably buy it, but it's where from. And by the time I'd probably, well, unless it was like $20 a length, it would be cheaper for me to buy it, but it's just where to find it from, and would it be the right thing? So I could probably make it. Yeah. What if I do try and roll that now? And whatever we play, see if I can just pull a little bit of shape into that before I do fold it. Right. Well, I got it to here. So I run that through the wheel first, and it worked. I sort of basically, even at that width, basically I sort of rolled it backwards and forwards and sort of pulled it down and kept working my way to this edge until that was sort of in the middle, and I got a reasonable curve in it. It's close-ish, but yeah, now I need to try and get this to squash flat. Like I broke, after I rolled it, I broke those two, then this one, and then I actually bent this here in two motions. So I sort of kicked it up and then moved it a little bit and then kicked it again to try and get that sort of fat roll without putting a wire in there. But I've now got to try and get the squash down. So that's the next trick. Righty, so I shot away for lunch. It was actually Dad that pulled up earlier on, and then Rachel turned up a few minutes after, but I've managed to get that to squash down reasonably well. I'll obviously fiddle it a little bit when I make the real thing. I'm not too panicked. I can make the shape, that's the main thing. So now I'm going to have a double check, measure the length, and I'll cut a piece off and see if we can make it 3 feet long or whatever it is. But yeah, I think I got that pretty bloody close, if you ask me. I don't think that's a bad attempt, and most people aren't going to know it much different really. If you're going from front to back, you're not going to tell that wasn't the real thing. And I can probably close it up a little bit tighter than that, but I'm pretty happy with how that came out. It's pretty shit hot, so we'll go cut the real piece and see if we can do it 3 feet long or whatever it is. So I'll go whack that off and start planning her out.
Right, so this will sit on here like that, I guess. I've left it a little bit long, and that will obviously allow for the upholsterers, they can trim that up and whatever. No point in me trimming it. I could, but, well, yeah, actually I'm probably better just to trim it and whatever, but I don't know if maybe I should put a little cap on there, should I? Don't know. Just finish the end of it maybe, but I don't know. But something like that will do the job. I'll screw it on, I can pull this out a little bit, which will actually bend that back around. It's part of my problem. It's a little bit over bent this end. But it was a little bit straight across that bottom edge. But it's about what I can do with the tools that I have. Like I could have got a nice clean strip cut, which probably would have been the ideal way to do it. But that's how they made it, so that's how I'm making it. Yeah, I think with a little bit of trimming and whatever, and I just wonder if I should make a little finishing end for that. Don't know. I'm just thinking of upholstery when you're lifting it up and down. If it had like made like a little cap for it or something, I don't know. Maybe a little cap to come up. That was on the end of this. Maybe tied this back to there. Have a think about it for a minute or three, but that's that made anyway. A little bit of fettling and finessing. I think that'll be pretty good. It's not bad for something I've never made before. So yeah, I could have made a new one for the bottom of the seat, you know, if you had to. So that's one of those. Right, so I've got this base just a half clamp here. Now I'm a wee bit worried about this here. Obviously I've got to trim this back a little bit, about 3/8 of an inch or thereabouts. Now because the upholstery comes up off the thing up to the top of the side of the car and then obviously towards the front door, I'm a wee bit worried about this when somebody's sitting on it. It won't move around a lot, but it could move around and cut. If the upholstery comes up fairly tight to this, and this is maybe moving around, I'm a wee bit worried about this cutting. So I'm going to round the corners off here, and I'll see a little bit here. But I think I might just make a little cap to go up onto here, and then just smooth it off and round it off, if you know what I mean. Just out of a little bit of scrap. And just kind of cap this and just make it a soft edge. I think just maybe just possibly save it damaging upholstery. Like the front one you don't have to really worry because it's going towards the back and it's going to be hidden. It's down and below behind something. But this here is a little bit more visible. It's not, but it is. Now if you lift the seat up and it keeps rubbing up against the upholstery, you're going to end up with a cut mark or something like that. Maybe eventually, if it's a bit tight, if you know what I mean. So I think if I make a little soft cap and we'll just cap it and just soften the edges with a little bit of metal in there, or even just possibly weld it up and then grind it back or something. I
I think that'll be the way to do it, but I might just practice it again on this piece first and just work out how I want to do it, and then I don't screw this up because I've only got, you know, 3/8 to half an inch to play with. So either we play on here first, work out what I might do is, yeah, think about it. I might try and weld it up, maybe start here and build the weld up and then work it across and see if I can build it up without burning this way back or anything stupid, otherwise I'll might make a little filler or something. We'll see how I get on. I'll try with low heat and just build it up and then see if I can smooth it off and see what it works like, so I don't screw right up. I think it's a good plan. I'll sit you up there and whether we play here. Right, now that's turned off. So, I think it's just something like that, and obviously I'll dress it up a little bit better than that, but that worked alright, and I just used a bit of fencing wire just to help fill that gap. That's just a bit heavy duty wire that I twisted up one day to actually clean out the diff with a rag in it. On the end of a drill, but just enough to help fill that in because it's quite a big gap obviously, so it's a bit harder to bridge up, but that was easy enough to, you know, bridge the gap. But that's a reasonable hole. I didn't want to burn it way down, if you know what I mean, but something like that just with a bit more of a clean up be fine. Now it shouldn't wear hard, if you know what I mean. It's not like that. Like, you could soften that up too, but it would still, I think that's going to be less wear on something than that, if you know what I mean. There's too many bits and pieces on there to rub that could get sort of catchy, I guess, if you want to call it. Whereas if that's rounded off, it's sitting on the wood and that's just got a nice smooth edge on it. It's less likely to rub and wear on something than like that. So yeah, that'll work. Alright, I think I'll do that. And no point showing you twice more. We'll come back to you later on. Righty, so I've got these all welded up and ground down. I've still got a little bit of dressing to do, but so far not too bad. Same at that end. At least that shouldn't cut up upholstery, you know, because it's probably going to be done in, I guess, leather or something like that, I'd imagine. So yeah, that needs prep for, I guess, paint now, clean up, a quick etch, and I'll probably give it a little bit of a hammer up around just the edges and stuff, see if I can get this edge a bit more even. We play with it and stuff like that, and probably a DA and maybe a quick file just to try and flatten out a little bit, and then bang a few coats of high build on it and rub it back and paint it black. And at the same time as well, hammer that other one up, straighten it up, clean it up, and do the same thing. We'll have to treat it to rust and shit like that. because it's pretty scabby, but I think it'll clean up pretty quick. Straighten, obviously, whatever, and yeah, get it all ready for paint too. But yeah, this isn't quite as tight through there as what this is, but you can't look at both at the same time. I can probably squeeze it up a little bit more, but yeah, you can't really look at both of them at the same time. Not easily anyway. Not without the seats being sitting side by side. But that's all that matters. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the end of this video or not, but if it is, again, thanks for watching. Thanks to all the new subscribers in the last wee while. I think I'm 965 or thereabouts. So if you are watching and you haven't subbed, please just hit that button. Hopefully you got a profile on here. But yeah, hit that sub button. It doesn't cost you a thing. Please give me a thumbs up. If you're watching, give it a thumbs up, please. And it just makes, I don't think a lot of people actually realise when we're trying to do this and spending probably 2 or 3 hours editing at night and whatever, trying to make these videos, it takes a bit of time. So those thumbs up and the subs and even a quick comment and whatever, and even share the videos. If you know somebody that might be interested, share the videos or the channel. Try and build those subs up so, you know, at some point we can make a little bit of revenue at it to put back into these things. And hopefully at some point I'm going to end up in the States soonish. I think it'd probably just be for a holiday for a start off, and do a bit of YouTube video stuff and give the boys a hand. They'd probably Ironhead and Outlaw Garage a hand to do some car stuff, and just make some videos and whatever. But yeah, so that would all help support that. I'd love to be at 1,000 and have enough watch hours to be making money before I did happen to go. That would be hugely appreciated. But yeah, again, yeah, please like, share and subscribe and sub and all those sort of things. It'd be awesome, thank you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, or we'll see you tomorrow.